What's up, everybody? I'm Ryan Missler. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a late model driver from Bellevue, Ohio. I've been racing since my junior year of high school. I raced go-karts, and then that transferred into racing late models in about 2004. So I'm a 5-time track champion at Attica Raceway Park in a super late model division, and currently I own and operate a machine shop in Bellevue, Ohio called Missler Industries, and that occupies my winters and summers, and really busy in the summers, but super busy right now in the winter. So I haven't really been thinking about racing a whole heck of a lot. We're going through our race car right now and rebuilding, and my buddy Christian, who edits every single video that we do, had an idea to do a video like this one. So I'm going to be ranking every single track that I've been to in a late model in my life, which is 23 of them. So I'm going to rank them today according to things like shape, size, track conditions, prep, the facilities, whatever I can think of, and I'm going to rank them here. So let's go. The first one is Muskingum County Speedway. So the first time I went to Muskingum County, and the reason I went to Muskingum County, it took me a long time to get there. It's probably 2000. Let's see, this is 24, so I think I went there for my first time in 2022. It's probably right. And my good sponsor, Weekly Electric, Sean, he talked me into it. He says, you got to come down here. It's awesome. It's his favorite track. So we went down there, and he wasn't wrong. There's no wall around the outside of it. There's this huge grandstands on the front stretch. But I remember going in the corner into turn one the first time in hot laps, and they cut the banking out of it now, but when we were first there, it was super fast, and you didn't have to lift going into turn one. There was so much bank, so it was really fun to race, but it was pretty top dominant. The bottom of the track is really flat, and the top of it was really progressive bank, so it tended to race one line around the top. So Donnie Moran owns that track, and he decided to take some banking out of it it was 2023. The 2023 season, he took the banking out of it for that season, and I think it races a lot better. I haven't been there a whole heck of a lot, probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. Let's see. It's run pretty well. I don't know if it was the first time I was there. I think it was the first time I was there. It rained, and we were there. I think we didn't get home till like 4 or 5 in the morning. It was a sloppy, muddy mess, and I was pretty mad. We got tore up too. So Muskingum County, we're gonna give that a. They don't race weekly; they race special shows. It's probably it is the most expensive place to get into, so that's gonna dog on its rating a little bit here. But we're gonna give her a solid B. All right, the next one up is Mudlick Valley, Kentucky. So we've only been there 2 times, raced there 3 times, because one time it was a 2-day show. I've never been there until this season, because we ran the Ironman Late Model Series. They went there, and the first time there, we qualified quick time, won our heat race, started in a pole of feature, led 38 of the 40 laps, got passed by Josh Rice at the end, lost $10,000, but ran second to Josh Rice, not bad, $5,000 for second place. Mudlick, it is in the hills of Kentucky, beautiful landscape. When you have no cell service, because you're up on a mountain, but down in a valley. You gotta go uphill to get there. But to get cell service, you got to go out of the pits, up on the front stretch, grass. So how they do it there is, I was talking to the owner and I said, "Where's all your bleachers at?" They have hardly any bleachers. There's more bleachers at some go-kart tracks that I was at back in the day than are at Mudlick Valley. He said he put more bleachers up for a special show the year before, and nobody sat in them. So what people do is they bring their car and they park it up on this huge grass hill, and they get their lawn chairs, bring their lawn chairs, sit in them, drink beer, and party up on the hill and watch the races. So that's a pretty cool place. But Mudlick Valley I'd say it's a solid B plus. B plus. All right. Oakshade Raceway. Been racing there forever, it seems like. Let's see. Probably my first time going there. Actually, my first race ever in a late model was there, but you guys didn't know that. I raced John Boris's limited late model there during the 2004 season. There was an ALMS show. There was like 65 cars there, and I don't remember much of heat races or anything, but I remember going out for the B main, starting in the back, and watching all the guys, in front of me on the green flag, just crisscross, and it was getting pelted with mud, and they were passing each other, and I was just thought to myself, how in the heck am I ever gonna be able to do that? But so that was my first trip there, and that was really cool. It was really, 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 really intimidating for a young racer, and I didn't go back there for a while. Probably not till 2007 or 2008 with our limited late model, and try to think back. I know we got tore up quite a bit when we tried to go run there, and it's about an hour and a half drive. It's not that far. It's probably it's one of the closer tracks to us. But yeah, they kept banking out of the track, and through the years, it's kind of gotten a lot of negative publicity, and there's not a whole lot of money that goes into it now anymore. It's just there, it just seems like it's dying. But there's been some heck of a good races there over the years, and I'd probably race there, I don't know, 50, 60, 70, 80 times, I don't know, something like that. But Oakshade has a special place in my heart. So a lot of these tracks just have porta pots. But they do get cleaned out. So I never had any problems. This is the first year we had a motorhome going to the races. So every year before this, for 20 years, I've used every track's porta pot. So Oakshade has porta pots. But so do a lot of the other ones. Oakshade, you're a C. Raceway 7, we went there. It was our first race this past season, in 2024. It was the first time we've ever there. My buddy Tom Sock told me that Raceway 7 is in Conneaut, Ohio. But as far as the facility, it was all right. The pits were dirt, dust. I just remember a lot of dust, and we got our butts spanked by the Outlaws. And it's a long straightaway track. Kind of reminds me of Wayne County in Oroville, Worcester. That's what it reminded me of. They got infield tractor tires, long straightaways, tight corners, stands on the front stretch. But this track it's kind of narrow, so it's hard to race on. I thought hard to pass on, narrow entering in the corners. But yeah, I didn't do very well. We didn't make it out of the B main. Just kind of hung in there right where we started, I guess. But Raceway 7, we didn't have any food there either, but you're a C to me. Okay. Moller. MRP, another first track for us this year. Moller is near Cincinnati, Ohio, and it's on a road that you can't fit 2 cars side by side going down there. But you're not on that road for very long before you turn into their track. They have a long stone driveway heading into their pits, and it's pretty dusty heading on that stone drive. I know the back of the motorhome's just covered in white dust pulling in there, but it's pretty cool though. There's only one way in and one way out, and the fans can park right along the drive, so the fans can wave at you. They sit in lawn chairs along there as you enter in and wave to you, and so the fans are super nice there. We talked to quite a few of them, very friendly people there. The track's really small, and it's got a wall all the way around the outside of it. The scales are on the inside. It's banked pretty good too. And the first time we were there, I don't think I was quick time. But I think we qualified decent. I don't remember, but we were there 3 times this year. I think we finished like 9th. Yeah, we finished 9th there the first time. But they got some stands on the front stretch, but it's just like a lot of cars got tore up there the first night we were there this year. And the problem with it is it's a small track, and if something happens, there's a wall on the outside all the way around. If something happens, you can't miss it. So if somebody loses it in front of you, you're just gonna wipe them out. And that was probably my biggest complaint of the place. But my biggest pro of the place is that I was fast there right out of the gate and qualified pretty good. The last time we were there, I was holding the track record for a little bit until Josh Rice went out and beat it. He beat me by like a half a tenth, a couple hundredths of a second or something. So facilities okay. There's a lot of ruts in the pits. I guess I'm hard to please, but it's a fun little track to race on. We'll give them that. Moller's a B. You're a B minus, but you're a B. Sharon Speedway. It's right on the border. It's like 2 minutes and you're in Pennsylvania. Over near Youngstown. Red clay. They hauled it in from Pennsylvania. Super nice place. Dave Blaney owns it. The Blaney family. Sprint car people. But every once in a while they have a late model race there. The first time we went there was 2022. And did pretty good. The track is super. It's really wide, and it's flat, and it's got a wall all the way around it, and it's got covered grandstands on the front stretch. And one thing I noticed the first time I was there is you can hear your engine in a different aspect echoing out of the grandstands because it's got a roof on top. It just sounds so much louder when you're racing down the front stretch at Sharon. But the track's really wide, flat, wall all the way around. Red clay, so it tends to get really slippery and slick. But the times that I've been there, it hasn't been slick per se. It's been kind of technical, meaning that you have to hit the brown. If you hit parts of the track where it's dry or it has less moisture, it's really slippery like glass. Then one of the next times we went there, I qualified. This was the following season, 2023. I qualified. I went through 1 and 2, had an awesome corner, and then I went into turn 3. And I was talking about Sharon's pretty technical. I went into 3 and I went in a little too hard and hit the wall, broke the frame on the car, loaded up, went to Quaker Steak and Lube to eat. And that was the last time we were there because we didn't go back in 2024. But Sharon, your pits are nice. Your track's awesome. Food, they got milkshakes there. Milkshakes. If you have milkshakes at your racetrack, you're an A. Sharon's an A. I love Sharon. Tri-State Speedway, Hobstadt, Indiana. I think that's the furthest we've traveled to a racetrack ever. That was another first-time track for us this year. That place is in the middle, not in the middle of Indiana. It's southwestern Indiana. When you're there, you are further south than St. Louis, Missouri, but you're in Indiana. I didn't know Indiana was that long. We went there with it was a co-sanctioned race with the Ironman series and the Summer Nationals this year. It was on a Sunday night. It was hot, 100 degrees, and we were there. We raced the night before at Brownstown, and we pulled in and stayed there, slept there, and there's no air moving. We were in their driveway, just sitting there. Worked on the car a little bit, cleaned it up. They got huge stone driveway. It's right on the interstate too, so you see all the semis and cars driving past, and they have a huge pond out back. And we rode the four-wheeler to the pond, checked it out, said no trespass. We went and asked the owners. The owners live right on the property. He's a farmer over there, and he turned his farm, this section of his farm, into a racetrack. And it's got well, back to the story. We asked the farmer or the farmer's family if we could fish in the pond. He said no. So we were kind of bummed about that. The dirt is black on the racetrack. The track's fairly flat. It's small, and it's the tightest corner track that I've ever raced on. It's a quarter-mile track, and the corners are so tight, you just got to pitch that car in there. So that was different. But we qualified good, won our heat race, started up front, started second in the feature. Tyler Erb was there. He eventually won the race. Facility's beautiful. Like I said, got all of his equipment. He can bring his water trucks. He was pulling his water trucks out of the barn and then driving them back into the barn. Everything was mowed, and all the officials had matching shirts, like super, really professional. When we were waiting to get into the track to park, he was on the track watering it the entire time. So the racetrack prep was A+. The facilities, I don't know I think there was porta pots in the pits, Christian. I didn't have any of their food. We had hot dogs. Amber made hot dogs or sandwiches or something. But Tri-State Speedway, if you would have let us fish in the pond, you'd get an A, but so B+. All right. Wayne County. That is in Orrville, Ohio. That's about an hour and a half drive for us. So we could, on Saturday nights, we can either go to Wayne County Speedway if we want to race local, or we can go to Oakshade. They're both an hour and a half from our driveway. So Wayne County has grown on us the last few seasons. We didn't normally go there hardly ever. The first time I was there was it was a long time ago. It's probably at least 10, 12, 13 years ago, racing-wise. I know my dad took us there during an Ohio Sprint Speed Week show way back. And I remember seeing that they had late models that night along with sprint cars. And it's one of the few tracks in our area that runs weekly 410 sprint cars and super late models. Wayne County's racetrack is super long. It's really long straightaways and tight corners, and it's banked. pretty good. You can haul the mail around Wayne County Speedway. I remember the first time like wanting to rip the top is pretty intimidating there because there's a guardrail all the way around. Well, there's a guardrail down. It starts in turn 3, goes all the way through turn 4, all the way down the front stretch. There's stands all the way down the front stretch, but the guardrail continues in coming out of turn 2, and then the back stretch is open. A lot of cars, sprint cars I've seen leave the park there, especially in turns 1 and 2. There's no catch fence there, just a guardrail, so they can get over that guardrail. But at 3 and 4, they have a catch fence. The pits start in turn 3 through turn 4, so they got to have a catch fence there. The pits are tight. They're pretty landlocked there. So the pits, if there's a lot of cars there and a lot of people there, the pits are pretty tight all night long. So you really got to watch where you're going and what you're doing. Got into a few crashes this year and the end of last year, end of 2023 and 2024. But Jason Flory, the track promoter, he does a good job. He tries different things. He's the first one in our area to increase a purse after a lot of years. The late model racing purse payout structure hasn't really changed in quite some time, and I give Jason props for boosting his weekly payout, what he pays us racers to win and on down the line. But the track, Jason also changed the track recently. He shortened. He kept the outside the same, but he made the corners a lot wider by taking and moving the inside of the track. I think both ends of the track he moved in like 30 feet, and I think that's made it race a lot better. You can run the bottom now instead of everybody ripping around the top. They got good food. They got root beer floats, right, Lillian? My daughter's sitting across from me. They got root beer floats. They're bravo. Root beer floats and beer. They got a huge selection of beer. You can buy Rolling Rocks there. After the races, of course. So, Wayne County Speedway. Wayne County. I don't know. I think Wayne County, you're a solid A. A for effort. He does everything to try and improve. Waynesfield. I raced at Waynesfield once or twice. I don't remember. It's been so long ago. 2009, I believe. So I remember our car was green. Christian, you were probably in first grade. Lillian wasn't born. No, you weren't born. Didn't have any kids. So the last time we raced at Waynesfield. They've been open and closed since then. They race predominantly sprint cars and modifieds. I liked it. It's wide. It's a quarter mile. Not many stands. I think they've added a lot of stands since we've been there last. It's high banked. There was a wall in 3 and 4. The wall down the front stretch, and then it's open through 1 and 2 and the back stretch. And you could really race, late models on it, even though it's a quarter mile. Late models raced around there good because it was wide. I wish they raced us more, but I don't really remember anything else about the place, about the facility or anything, because it's been so long since I've been there. Fun fact: I raced go-karts there for years. So Waynesfield, yeah, we're gonna put you up here as a B. Atomic, I loathed you when I first started going there. But since we ran the Ironman this year, Atomic has grown on me a lot. I used to dread or not wanting to go to Atomic, and I dreaded that they were on the schedule so many times this year. But as we started going there and racing there and getting better and qualifying better, it's grown on me. And the last time we were there, we got third. And my buddy Seth won, and we finished second to Hot Rod Conley. So the first time we were there was a 100-lap race in 2019. Was that the first time I was there? I think so. It was the Atomic 100, or they called it something like that. Tim McCready won. But I was running, I know I started back a ways, but I got up to 4th. I had soft tires on, because that's all I took. And I had a flat tire running 6th on lap like 87 or 88. Didn't get to finish the race. But that was my first experience there. It had rained the day before, the day before, and they rescheduled it for the next day. We drove all the way home, came all the way back, 3 hours from our house. It's in Chillicothe, or Waverly, Ohio, near Chillicothe. It rained and it was rough, super rough. Like, I got pictures of 3 wheels off the ground. Yeah, it tore up some stuff that night too. But Atomic is so fast you can flat foot it around the place in qualifying, and it's banked nearly in 1 and 2 at Atomic. It's banked. If you know Eldora, it's banked like Eldora. You don't have to lift. You just run her in there wide open. 3 and 4 is a little less banked, but you could still do it. But when the track sucks off, you can't. But they got front stretch grandstands, a wall almost all the way around except for the back stretch. The pits are pretty. They do have paved. If you get there and can get a spot, they have some paved pit spots, which are paved work area in the pits. I think they have ice cream there. Can't say that I ever have had it though. I haven't ever been in the general admission area. Always just been in the pits. You pull onto the track on the back stretch, and you used to, until they changed, you used to have to pull into the infield to pull off the track, and then you would drive up the high bank, turn 1 and 2, and get your car going up the hill, and you wouldn't be able to see what was on the other side of that hill until your car slammed back down. So hopefully nobody was in the way when cars were coming off the track. It's pretty wild. But Atomic in Ohio was the highest paying weekly late model purse. So I'll give them that. They raised their purse. It was like $3,000 to win a weekly show there before anybody else. And I don't think anybody else is up still in the state of Ohio paying a weekly show what they pay. And they're not afraid to put on big races and pay some money. Atomic's growed on me, even though I haven't raced there a ton, but we raced there 4 times, and 4 times this year. And we're gonna give Atomic. We're gonna give them a B. Attica Raceway Park. I've raced there 1,000 times. It's 20 minutes down the road, maybe 15 if you're speeding. I grew up watching sprint cars and street stocks race there when I was 7. From 7 on, I've attended a lot of races there and raced a lot of races there. Attica's in Attica, Ohio, right off of State Route 4. It's promoted by John Boris, and like I said earlier in this, John Boris gave me my first late model ride. So John's been involved in racing for a long time, and racing is one of his passions, obviously. I think he's promoted that track for 20 years. Attica has a very good facility. They put a lot of money into it. They have great concessions. I like their barbecue beef or nachos or cheese fries. What else they got? Sometimes they have ice cream. I like ice cream. But Attica's track is pretty racy. They got some very good clay on there. The last few seasons they didn't have very good clay, but they got some for this past season. They hauled some more in the off season here. They have grandstands down the front stretch. It's pretty high banked. You can race all over the track. It's a 3rd mile. There's only a wall around down the front stretch. If you go off 1 and 2, you just kind of go off the bank and come back on. Or if you go off 3 and 4, the same. If you go off 3 and 4 pretty hard, you will hit a wall protecting the pit area. That's the only track I've ever flipped a car at. That was in 2017. Flipped off a turn 1. I just flew off turn 1 and the left rear dug in and we flipped over and landed on the horse track. So it's a fairgrounds and there's a half-mile horse track all the way around the outside of the track. So when you race at Attica, everybody says they want to get to the horse track. Hopefully they're on the horse track at the end of the night, meaning that they're getting their picture taken with a sign that looks like that, feature winner at Attica. We've won quite a few races there. I think we've run 20-ish. It's probably more than 20 some with the limited late model wins and the super late model wins. I don't quite know, but there's somewhere around the 30 mark probably. But it's probably my favorite racetrack. I'm partial to that place. Either that place or one of these tracks coming up here that I see is probably my favorite. But Attica's the favorite or tied for favorite of my racetracks. I can't say anything negative really about Attica other than their payoff basically sucks. So that's the only negative I'll say about Attica. So if Attica can get their weekly payoff in line, however they have to do that, they could be an A. But it's my favorite place to race at. But they can't get an A because their payoff. You cannot run a late model there weekly and be able to afford it. Not that racing's cheap, but you don't want to be insulted. So hopefully they raise their purse, and I'd gladly give them an A+, but they are a B because of that. Brownstown. I've only been to Brownstown, Indiana, once. It was this year during the Ironman series, and that's at a fairgrounds. And they had a covered grandstand, no wall. There's a wall on the front stretch, but you have to really go off the track to hit it. So there's no wall all the way around. So that's one plus. I won hot laps there. That's two pluses. And then after hot laps, everything went downhill from there. The track really reminds me of Attica. Really, really much so, because you can rip the top and let your right rear nearly hang off the top, just like at Attica, and it builds a cushion like Attica, and not get into too much trouble. You're not going to hit a wall, so you can really push the limits there. But it was in the middle of July, and that cushion really faded, and towards the heat race I got second, and I qualified bad. Heat race I got second, started closer to front and just went backwards. I chose the wrong tire and went backwards, got lapped by Devin Gilpin, a multiple time track champ and big race winner there, and it was really probably my worst night of the season other than the crashes. I didn't crash, but it was just one of those nights where you just want the checkered flag to fly so you can pull off the track and load up and go to the next one. But the track was awesome. It was smooth, but it slicked off, and there was nothing to lean on and nothing to get a hold of. And I didn't have any of their food or didn't go to use any of their restrooms. But I will complain about one thing. They watered the pits. The pits are mud, and they made us drive our cars through Tech, which was way away from where we were pitted at, and our car was disgusting mud before we even hit the track. So that was dumb. But I love the racetrack, and it's about 5 hours from our house, so it's pretty far. That was the furthest away we were from our house that weekend. We raced at Brownstown, and then we went to Tri-State for that Summer Nationals race. That was a long weekend, far away from our house, but we'll give Brownstown. If they wouldn't have watered the pits and made us clean our car, we would have gave them an A, but there's a B. Solid B+. We'll go there. All right. Eldora Speedway, the most famous dirt track in the world. And they have the biggest, most prestigious races that every late model driver and sprint car driver wants to win. The World 100 and the Dirt Late Model Dream, and they also had a couple $1 million to win races for late models. Eldora is very, very difficult track to race at because of the track's banked. It's different than any other place that we race at. It's just its own monster. And then anytime you go there to race, they don't race there weekly. They only have special races. So anytime you go there to race, you're racing against some of the best cars in the country. And it's always a humbling experience to race at Eldora. We've hit the wall at Eldora. There's a wall all the way around. There's grandstands all the way around except the backstretch. It's a huge, huge, huge facility. You pit in the infield. Or if there's too many cars to fit in the infield, they'll pit them up top and on the backstretch in turn 3 outside of the track. And they got to open a gate to let you into the infield to pull onto the track then for the big races. And we've raced there. First time we were there was 2018 racing, and it's just altogether different. And it just seemed like the first couple years we went there, it rained every time we went there, and we just wasn't ready for that, and just got killed and humbled. And but the facility there is awesome. The track personnel there are the most professional. The food, they have really good food for a racetrack. You can't get prime rib there, but they have good food as compared to other racetracks. Eldora's an A just because it's well, I take that back. We're gonna give them a B because they seem to can't get their track prep lately in line. It takes Tony Stewart himself, who owns the track. Tony Stewart, the professional NASCAR racer. Now he's a drag racer. He owns Eldora, but it takes him going there to get the track smooth. I think it was only smooth one time this year. They could be an A, but they're a B. All right. Fremont Speedway. So earlier when I was talking about Attica, I said it's my favorite track. It's probably tied with Fremont. So Fremont is also very close to us. It's 20 minutes down the road on Route 20. You get off on the Fremont bypass to go to the racetrack. So it's a 20-minute drive from our house. My Uncle Jim Missler raced hobby stocks there in the 1960s. And his number was number 50, like mine. That's where I got my number from. They've got a long history of racing. I don't know when they started racing, in the 40s or 50s. So they've been a racetrack for a long time. It's at a fairgrounds. They have the Sandusky County Fair. They're on the Sandusky County Fairgrounds. But in recent years, they haven't run late models very much. The track's configured kind of like Attica, but flatter, maybe a little shorter, and definitely narrower, tighter corners. Harder to race late models there without some beating and banging. But they got a covered grandstand. they have the same track announcer, Brian Lisky, as Attica does, but when you listen to the announcer at Fremont, it sounds like a different guy to me, but it's the same guy. It's just the sound system and the acoustics of the covered grandstands, I think, and I really like racing Fremont. And they didn't race us there for about 5 years and up until this year, and we went back, or no, it was last year, late 2023. But since before that, we didn't race there. I think the last time before that was like 2017, I think. Yeah, but back in the day, like in 2000, 2000, it would be, I think it was 2006. I won my first race at Fremont, and I've got 4 wins there. But 2006, I remember it. Larry Kingseed. It was a limited late model race. Larry Kingseed had been winning the track championship at Attica and for a lot of years, and was just winning races. And I remember passing him for the win at Fremont, and I was like, man, I just passed Larry Kingseed, and that was my first win at Fremont, and I remember that, and which that was pretty cool. Just you start racing and you don't know, am I going to be any good at this, and that was probably, I think I had won a race at Attica a couple weeks before that, like the last race of the season at Attica, and going to Fremont and winning, like, man, maybe I can do this. So I remember that. And 2009 was they had an ALMS race, American Late Model Series race at Fremont, and we went there and started on a pole and won that race. So that was my first big win with the series, was at Fremont. So Fremont holds a special place in my heart. They got good food. They got walking tacos, and they got food in the pits, and all they do, they got a Fremont Speedway Hall of Fame. That's pretty neat. They got running water. They got running water in the pits. You can go take a leak if you need to or whatever. And they got paved area in the pits. And they got a promoter back, that rich farmer that promoted it. He's not a rich farmer. His name's Rich Farmer. And he took back promoting and ownership, or owns the lease of Fremont Speedway this year, and I think he did a good job and has high aspirations for the place. And we race there once this year, and hopefully, or in 2024, hopefully in 2025 we race there a couple more times. So I got a feeling he scheduled an Ironman race this year for 2025, so I got a feeling there's going to be a couple more late model races this year at Fremont. So he's putting in the work, and he's scheduling late model races, and Fremont Speedway gets an A. Hartford Speedway, Michigan. That's kind of a chuck of a drive to get to from here. We haven't been there. We were only there once. It's a big track, but we were there in, I think it was 2019, and I wasn't quick time. I think a second or third quick. Hartford, I don't even really know where it is in Michigan. I know it's far away. It's like north central, or like central Michigan or something. Or maybe it's even, it might even be closer to Lake Michigan. I don't know. But it's a huge flat racetrack. It used to be a lot bigger. They shortened it, but it's still huge. It's wide open, but it's flat. It slicked off the night we were there. I remember the flag stand's different on that racetrack. Most flag stands are centered on the racetrack, like on the front stretch, center pretty much. Hartford, it's like coming on a turn 4 is the flag stand, which is unique. They have I think they have like grass front stretch. They have bleachers, but they also have a section that's like excavated, like big chunks of, like big steps of grass, I think, or concrete. I can't remember. I think it's grass though. which that was unique too. But I don't remember any of their food or anything or concessions or. I do remember that was an American Ethanol Series race, and I was up front. I was running second, and we were in lap traffic. And the rule with the Ethanol Series was you had to, if a lap car spun out in front of you and you spun to avoid, you get your spot back. And I did that. A lap car spun in front of me. I spun to avoid him, and they didn't give me my spot back, and we were mad. And we yelled at the officials after races. They didn't want no part of it. They apologized later to us in an email, but it didn't help us out. But the track was good. Just the official was stupid. Hartford gets a B. Hilltop Speedway's in Millersburg. They call it Amish Hilltop. It's about 2 hours straight south of here, and they call it Hilltop Speedway because you got to drive up a huge hill on this winding, hilly road to get there. And then once you pull in the driveway, then you got to drive up another hill to get into the facility. The facility's not, I mean, the facility's not like Eldora. It's quite the opposite. It is neat though how it's laid out. So when you go and walk on up to the front stretch bleachers, you don't really have to go up the steps or climb anything to get to the top of the bleachers from the pits from the back side, because the track is like down in a hole. The pits are really dusty. The track's really dusty. Sometimes it's hard to see. The facility, not so good. The racetrack and the racing, very good. I love racing at Hilltop. I love racing the track. I don't like. It's like anything goes. Like it's really, anytime I've been there, the drivers' meeting goes like, you guys better not be doing this like you did last week or else, So there's not very, very good organization, I'd say. The track food, I don't know if I've eaten. Nothing really sticks out to me about the track food, but they got porta pots there. There's no running water. Hilltop's, it would be really tough to give Hilltop an A or a B. The racing, I would give the racing on the racetrack is like a solid B. But the facilities and there's not even scales to weigh the car, so it's like there's no rules. They don't even check tires when you go and race there. So it's really hard to go and think you're on an even playing field. It's just sketchy, and I didn't go there this past season for that reason, just because it's kind of can be an SHIT show. So Hilltop's a C. All right, I-96 Speedway, that's in Michigan. Pretty big track. I haven't been there for a few years. I haven't been there since, I'll tell you, in 2019 with I think it was an Ethanol Series race. But it's like 3.5 hours to get there from here. It's quite kind of a long drive to get there. I haven't ran very good there or finished very good there. Only raced there. I think we only raced there 2 or 3 times. It's a big track. It's banked, medium banked. Front stretch has a wall. If you go down off the back stretch, this is kind of a unique thing. If you go down the back stretch, if you go off of it, you kind of, just like fall off into no man's land. It's kind of like Atomic. If you go off the back stretch and go down, you like fall off the face of the earth. So you don't want to do that. I don't remember a whole lot about it other than it's big, it's fast, and grandstand bleachers on the front stretch only, and the pits are behind the grandstands. And yeah, I don't necessarily like, I didn't take a liking to it, but that's probably because I didn't do so well there. But I think we were just like a mid-pack car when we went there. 996. I'd say you're a C. All right. Lawrenceburg. So we went to Lawrenceburg once, and that was this year with the Ironman series. A lot of firsts this year for us. But Lawrenceburg, we did real well. We went to Moller the night before, and then we drove overnight to Lawrenceburg. It's about an hour drive from Moller, but it's about it's like 3.5 hours 45 minutes from our house, because we drove there after race was over on Saturday night. Drove all the way home, and Lawrenceburg's huge track, fast, banked. It was a little rough in 1 and 2, but I believe somebody said the city owns it. Lawrenceburg, the city owns that place or something. But it's most notably like a USAC or a non-wing sprint car track over there in Indiana. But they had late models this year, and kudos to them for having us. But I took a liking to it right off the bat. It just, I don't know, it suited my driving style. There was a cushion in 3 and 4, and we went out and qualified second quick in our group, and started on the pole of our heat race and won that thing it was over a straightaway. And the feature, I think I just didn't have the correct tires on because we sank. But I like the track, and it's pretty cool. You can, if you're a fan and you ain't been to Lawrenceburg, you can pay for a parking spot right on the backstretch. You can back your car or truck right against the backstretch wall and watch right from there, which is a pretty cool thing you can do. Lawrenceburg, you're gonna get a B. I really liked running at Lawrenceburg though, but it was fast. A lot of the guys were overheating. So fast. Mansfield is torn down. She's gone. I only raced there one weekend in my life. That was in 2019 for the Mansfield Million. I think it was called the Mansfield Million. Yeah, we raced there, I think it was 3 nights. 3. It could have been 4, but I think it was 3. Beautiful facility. It has like aluminum bleachers, glass press box. They used to have NASCAR truck races there when it was pavement, but they turned it to dirt. Cody Summer leased or rented the track for 3 years and had some select special races there. And we went to the last Mansfield Million race that they had, and it wasn't a million to win. It was fan interacted, where the fans could somehow buy stuff for their driver, or buy tickets through a driver, and then that would increase the purse. It was this whole points format thing that Cody came up with. But that is the one and only time. It was the second day. It was a Friday night. We raced Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Friday night was the only time I ever outqualified Scott Bloomquist. That is on Facebook. That is my cover photo on Facebook, is me starting in front of Scott Bloomquist. I only was in front of him for 1 lap, and then everybody passed me because I almost crashed in the second corner. But that was an experience. We got our tails kicked every night. Didn't make the show any night. It was a pretty top-notch facility. The track didn't race very good. It was pretty. I don't know why it didn't race good. It's not like a big wide sweeping corner. It was long straightaways, tight corners, and just didn't race that good. That's from what I remember. But I didn't do good there, and they tore it down, so that sucks. And He got an A for effort for Cody for trying it, but I think he said something like he lost over the 3 years he lost like over $1 million trying to make it go. All right, Merritt Speedway, Merritt, Michigan. That's like 5 hours from our house, up north, way up north. Got to cross a couple big bridges in Michigan to get there, and we were there one time, 2021 or 2022, 2021, 2021. Went for up there for their wood tick, 30 some $1,000 to win. They screw around. That Michigan track screws around so much. They run late models last. They have like 8 support divisions. The track race pretty good. Track smaller. It's like a quarter mile or a third mile. I think it's a quarter mile. It's very abrasive on tires. Stands on the front stretch, no wall, but if you want off the front stretch or the back stretch, it was so tapered that it would suck you down and you would be into the guardrail on both sides. Kind of strange. I don't know why it was like that. But it raced pretty good. But man, do they screw around and milk the show. And the owner's very shady. Lots of people haven't been paid over the years. There's lawsuits against him. I doubt he's going to open and back up next year. He's trying to sell that track and another track that he owns. No good press about Merritt Speedway at the moment. They might be the only track that's going to get a bad rating because it's like so the owner goes on Facebook Live and is pleading his case that he puts. So this year, the 2024 Wood Tick race, he had sponsors for it, and people help him out and put up money, and he's paying this big money to win, and Frank Heckeness comes and wins the race, and he still hasn't been paid. No, as far as I know, nobody's been paid from that race so far. And then the owner of the track goes on Facebook Live and says, I don't know. It's not my fault. I thought the fans would come, and the fans didn't come, so I can't pay the purse. So, I owe all these people, and he's holding up these sheets of paper like this, saying, how many people he owes, and that's bad business. And he's playing a victim like it's not his fault, and that's his fault. So Merritt, you get an F. I didn't know if I was going to give anybody a bad grade, an F. Merritt got an F. You just can't do that. Hopefully he sells it to somebody who's not like him and gives those racers up there something to race for. And yeah. All right. On to more positive things here. Millstream. Everybody, since I've been racing, everybody's been trying to make you go. And it seems like right now, well, I guess since I've been racing, this is the second owner. There was one owner that had it for like 20 some years that would lease it out and lease it out to promoters and then, kind of sabotage them and not give them what they need to succeed at the place. So it's been shut down for a long time. We've raced there a few times. Millstream is in Findlay, Ohio. And Earl Baldus owned it back in the day along with Eldora. And they've been known for racing on Sunday nights. It's about an hour from our house. Findlay's pretty close. It's like between Attica, Fremont, and Millstream being an hour away. It's one of the closer ones to us. We haven't raced there for a while, but they did have late models this past year. We didn't go. We were racing somewhere else. But Millstream's kind of like it's shaped kind of like Eldora, and it did have a wall around the inside and the outside. And the new owners of the place put a bunch of money into it, and they tore the inside wall down. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know. So it doesn't have an inside wall anymore, but it has an outside wall. It's not banked as much as Eldora is, even though it's about the same size as Eldora. It's not banked near as much, but it is a fast place. If it's tacky and fast, it'd be pretty fast. Rumor is they put nearly almost $1 million into the place, so they get an A for effort. But I haven't been there in years. So we might. I think we're gonna go there this year because the Ironman's scheduled to race there. So we'll give Millstream a solid B plus for putting all kinds of money and time and effort and trying to make it go. Lakeville. I've raced at Lakeville. That was some of my first laps ever in a late model. I raced in a mechanics race in John Boris's car. Well, I went there to help him for the night, and he let me race in a mechanics race after the race was over, and that was cool. But I think we only raced there once in our very first car. Lakeville, Ohio. It's like an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours away. Really, really, really kind of rednecky. Yeah, and it's gone. Like, it's not here no more. It got bought by some Amish, I think, and it's like a junkyard now or something. But yeah, it's gone. Lakeville, you're dead. D for dead. Okay. Butler, our last one, our 23rd track that we've ever been to. Butler. We went there again for the first time in 2024. Ran second place to Rusty Schlenk. We won our heat race. Qualified decent, but that wasn't fast time. But won our heat race. The track is fast. We were setting in qualifying. We were setting track records. Butler's unique. It's got huge, steep. Amber, my wife, told me how scary their stands are just because she felt like they were pretty steep. But I thought they were cool because they can seat a lot of people. And there's a few unique things about the track. The pits are pretty nice to park in grass, but a unique thing in turn 2, there is a treehouse. People own this treehouse. The track doesn't own this, but people sit up in that treehouse and watch the races. It's pretty funny. Yeah, I had the dirt bike and I was looking at the track, and there was quite a few bigger rocks on the track, and I was a little concerned with that. But there was people sitting in the treehouse, and we waved to them, and they might have yelled down something or good luck or something, but that was unique. And another unique thing is the corners are different. Like 1 and 2 is banked pretty good, and it's more of a sweeping corner, where 3 and 4 is really, it's tight. So it's the track is kind of shaped like an egg, but it's really dirty though. Dirty and like rocky stones in it. But it was fast, and it was pretty fun to race on, but it was just one of the dirtiest tracks. So when it started to dry out, it got really dirty and dusty and throwing crap. So when you got behind the car, you really got pelleted. But we did run second there. Had a good night. We broke a transmission there this year, and I couldn't shift when we were pulling off the track towards the end of the night. I had to get towed off. I couldn't. When I stopped, it stalled, and I couldn't get it out of gear. But Butler, I like you. You are a B. All right, so that's the end there, everybody. I hope you liked this grading of all of the tracks that I've ever been to. I'm Ryan Missler. Thanks to Christian for editing this. And if you guys like this video, comment below what you thought. And make sure that you subscribe to our channel to never miss anything that we put out. Thanks, everybody. See ya.